Well, I just wanted to speak briefly on some recent films that I've seen. Cinema's a wonderful venture, and it's a wonderful venture to go with family as well. So,
Yeah.
me and my mother and brother decided to go to Spider-Man Homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I wanted to go to something different. I wanted to go to see Baby Driver. You know, the new Edgar Wright
What's
film?
What was Baby Driver?
Oh, it's a new Edgar Wright film. It's going to be stylish. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be well acted. It's going to be sleek.
Sleek.
But it's also 15, so my 7-year-old brother can't go.
Ah, right.
So that option went in the bin, and he
Mhm.
wanted to see something horrendous. Dario the Wimpy Kid, which I said no to. That went in the bin. So I thought, Spider-Man Homecoming, nice family flick. Mother will enjoy it.
I have to interject. Diary of a Wimpy Kid is actually, I'm not going to say good. It's decent. It's something that. How old would you be when you watch it? Maybe 8 to 10. But it's something that an older person can appreciate, not necessarily enjoy, but appreciate.
Well, since I haven't seen it, I can't confirm or deny that. But I went in maybe with a cynical attitude. But anyway,
Always.
as always.
But
But anyway, I thought this is bound to be suitable.
terrible.
This is bound to be suitable for us all. You know, Marvel consistently okay. It should be enjoyable. But I came out from it.
Mhm.
I thought it was horrendous. My brother thought it was horrendous. He said terrible, worst movie. And
How old's your brother again?
he's 8. And my mother's thoughts of it aren't able to be uttered on her. That's the degree to which she disliked it.
Right.
And to a certain extent, I wonder what the issue is, because I watched the film and it was well acted. The individuals involved, Robert Downey Jr., the individual who played Spider-Man, Tom Holland. I thought there was a lot of capacity, a lot
Sorry,
of talent.
Robert Downey Jr. Who played?
He
who
played
did-
Iron Man in it.
Sorry, Iron Man is in the film.
Iron Man's in the film.
Sorry, I have no. I honestly know nothing about superhero films.
I know this is part of the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's sort of an idea of
Is it
lo-
crossover films?
Yes, loads of different films, and they all sort of borrow from each other and different characters and show up in different ones. And you cringe at it a little bit, but
Sounds gimmicky.
yes, but it's a gimmick that's never been done before. That's the thing.
Well,
Never on this scale.
never on this scale.
What do you think about it? This is maybe 10, 15 big budget Hollywood films, all referencing each other, all forming a sort of shared universe. That kind of thing's never been attempted before.
I would argue that if it's Pixar or Disney, all their films are kind of connected in a way.
No, they have little references.
Yeah, well,
like,
little references.
Like the A113 thing in Pixar films.
Yeah, that's the room that they all had art classes in or something?
Yeah, or some reference to some sort.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. But it's not just they make little references. Characters from one film show up in the other film, and the whole the stories of one film affect the story of another film.
Right. Well, if that is actually intricately done, that could be very good.
Exactly.
However, I think that they might be relying solely on this novelty.
Yet, to a certain extent, yes, I would say that's the problem with Spider-Man: Homecoming. The issue is that I think it was made solely to fit nicely and neatly into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think the whole...
It doesn't. It's. What you're saying is, does it not add anything new?
Yes. I mean, the original Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans, at the time they were new. It was at the stage where superhero films hadn't really been done. There wasn't really a formula set out. You know, that's the issue. The stuff like the first X-Men film, the first Spider-Man film, Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins, they were forerunners before this sort of explosion of 5 new superhero films every year.
Yes.
And to a certain extent, they have a little bit of leeway, because when you look back at those, you see they're not as good as you first thought they were. But because they were such forerunners, you accept that.
Yeah.
But for the new Spider-Man, there was nothing really new. It was all just cookie cutter to fit in. And if I'm honest, it didn't really feel like it mattered that much. Most of the drama was all just sort of boring high school things that I've seen a million times before.
Yeah.
It was all just the sort of stuff you'd see on every Disney Channel film.
Cliche, you might say.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, it really felt as though it was super bad, but without any of the humour. As though they were playing it completely straight. And occasionally Iron Man showed up.
There's no drawing any funny images. No, you know what I mean.
No,
not that.
I don't. And this isn't to dismay the actual production. Production-wise, it was amazing. It was well made. Directed was fine. The actors were good. structure-wise, the whole thing fit together well, but it just wasn't a film.
It wasn't a film.
It just fitted in.
Oh, what a damning indictment.
It just fitted in like a little jigsaw piece into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Mm-hmm.
It was just and wait till you see how this shows up at the end, at the final film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It couldn't stand on its own merits. If you had never seen another Marvel film and you saw it on its own, with no knowledge of the sort of overall structure that came with it, you would think, what am I watching?
Yeah.
On the other hand, I went to see the second film I went to see with the same trio and my grandmother was War for the Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
The conclusion of the trilogy, the new trilogy of the Planet of the Apes films, which had started maybe back in 2007-8 with Rise of the Planet of the Apes, starring James Franco and Frida somebody, I can't recall her name. And this film series has been consistently excellent. Not only in terms of the story, but in terms of the CGI. The CGI is phenomenal. And in particular, the work of Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis plays the main ape, Caesar. Yeah, Andy Serkis, of course, famous for Gollum in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, right. Cool.
Yeah, he's very famous for those kind of roles where he has to inhibit sort of a non-human character and give it very human characteristics.
I saw on the Graham Norton show how they actually captured the way, primates walk and that. The way they walk maybe on their fists or walk like that. They built these prosthetic things, almost like crutches that they would hold, and they would practice like running with them. And actually, I can't remember his name, but he was on the Graham Norton show and he did it, and it looked so lifelike the way he moved, with just these crutch things.
And it shows through in the film itself. It's probably one of the best CGI I've ever seen in a film.
The best ever CGI. Have you seen Avatar?
I've seen Avatar. I think it might actually be better. Although Avatar is very bombastic with the colours and the actual sort of the idea of Avatar.
Seascape, everything.
Yeah, the idea of Avatar is much bigger. This whole new world of whole new species.
Yeah,
and
it gives you a lot of sort of room to play with CGI. You don't have any real constraints in the sense that you're trying to make something fit this.
Yeah, but not dismaying the technical achievements of Avatar. It's a brilliant looking film.
Yeah, it is.
But this was a brilliant looking film, and the story itself, I'm not going to spoil too much, but I went in with the title War for the Planet of the Apes, and when I saw a couple of trailers,
cataclysmic.
I saw a couple of trailers and I thought this is going to be some bombastic two armies, big speeches at the end, they're just going to come and collide and it's going to be action packed, but that's going to be it.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't that there. It was more a story about Caesar the main ape. It was a story, some tragic events happened to him, and it's more about his journey of reconciling. It's more his journey of figuring out who he is, and is he the peaceful leader that he wants to be, or does he still hold hatred? And so most of the film was sort of his journey and his sort of reflection. I'll spoil a little bit of the previous film, which was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And the main contention of that film, which was released a few years ago, was it was between the main ape Caesar and his sort of second in command, Koba. And Koba had a deep hatred for humans because they had experimented on him when he was a chimp.
Right.
And so he harboured this deep suspicion, this deep hatred. And Caesar had been raised by humans, so he didn't have the same sort of vitriolic hatred. He sympathised. He understood what they were, and he understood that there was a spectrum. And so the main tension came from Koba wanting nothing to do with humans, suspecting everything, wanting harsh measures against the humans, and Caesar, on the other hand, wanting sort of peace, wanting to try and come to terms with the humans, wanting to live with them.
Yeah.
Not necessarily trusting them, not necessarily buddy, but existing as two species on the same planet. And that all came to a head where Koba betrayed Caesar, and then at the end of the film, Caesar killed Koba. And so, if you haven't seen Rise of the Planet of the Apes, I highly recommend it. Even with those spoilers, it's still a brilliant film.
Is that the first one of the trilogy, or is that the second?
Sorry, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Rise is the very first, Dawn's the second.
Okay.
See, you would suspect Dawn came before Rise, but the names are slightly confusing.
Yeah.
But anyway, a lot of the third film is Caesar trying to come to terms with that. Is he like Koba? Is he becoming like Koba?
Yeah.
Was Koba right? Or is his ideals misplaced? Or was he correct? And a lot of that film is him trying to reconcile those ideas and trying to come to terms with that while still trying to be a leader to his pack of apes or troop of apes. So, although Spider-Man Homecoming does not get the seal of approval from me, I fully recommend War of the Planet of the Apes. Top quality, great trilogy.
Great trilogy.
Have you seen any films that interested you, or even recently, Shay?
Well, the standout one probably would be Brothers Grimsby, or The Brothers Grimsby.
Sacha Baron Cohen film?
Sacha Baron Cohen, yeah, the man himself, yeah. It's visually, it is a very visually one scene in particular is very, very striking. I don't know if you've seen it. Perhaps you're just getting a feel that it's going to be very.
No,
it's going to be out there.
I'm recalling previous endeavours by Sacha Baron Cohen, so although I haven't seen Grimsby itself, I can only imagine.
He's do you know, actually, anybody out there who's actually seen Brothers Grimsby knows that I think he plays a character called Nobby, right? He's sort of got is it Liverpoolian act? Where's Grimsby? Is that in Liverpool? It's somewhere in the north.
It's somewhere in the north of England. I'm not exactly sure.
So, there's one. I watched this in an interview. I think this is where he got the inspiration for Nobby. Do you know? I think it's Noel Gallagher from
Oasis.
From Oasis. He said to his
wife,
he
does look like him.
What?
He does look like him.
Yeah. He said to his wife, "I'm gonna tell a joke about Noel Gallagher on stage or something." And his wife was like, I don't know if you should do that. He's known to be violent, Noel Gallagher. And
it's Liam. It's Liam.
Or Liam.
No, Noel's not violent. Liam's
Liam's
got a bit of a stick.
Right, okay. Liam's violent, and he sort of comes up to him and says, can I do a joke about you? And he's like, yeah. I can't do an accent.
Montpellier.
Yeah, and it's like, so he gets up. He doesn't say the joke. I don't know why. Maybe he doesn't have time. Maybe he's caught short or something. And afterwards, they're drinking in a bar. It's him, Bono, and
Liam
Gallagher, yeah. And he's like, "Why didn't you?" No, can't do the accent.
I'll fill it in myself.
Yeah. Tell a joke about me. I don't know where that's from. Where that accent is from. I was like, I don't know. I just sort of got thing. It's like, and then he asks like, "Who's the greatest living rock star?" or something. And it's like, I don't know what he says the first time, but the second time he says Bono. And it's like, no, John Lennon. or something. And it's like, John Lennon's dead. It's like, no. And he stands up and is like, John Lennon. I think you can tell what that sort of muted sound in the middle was. I think you can tell what that stood for.
Quite.
Yeah, and then he falls over and looks at him as if Sacha Baron Cohen has pushed him. Like a real serious sort of like startled look. And it's like, I'm going to stab you in the eye. and then Sacha Baron Cohen said, so to get back on good terms with Liam Gallagher, I thought I'm going to base my entire football hooligan character around Liam Gallagher. At least physically anyway. So he looks quite like Liam Gallagher and Nobby from Brothers Grimsby. And the film's about two children in an orphanage, and they're separated at birth. One's adopted by one family, one by another. One brother goes on to become... does he work for MI6 or some sort of like secret service of some sort?
Some British surveillance.
Some intelligence thing. Really just carries out like assassinations and stuff, you know. And Nobby, I think, tracks him down or something. And I forget a lot of the film, but it's them on a mission together. And
Culture clash
indeed. Yeah. There's certainly... The culture clash is basically just normal sort of accepted decency in a film. And I wouldn't say this film, but I would say this particular scene. Okay, I have never seen a scene like this in a film. It's phenomenal. I wouldn't even recommend you, the people listening, to watch it to enjoy it. I want you to watch it to experience it, so we can have some sort of shared
a shared heritage.
Yeah, so we can go. Do you remember? Yeah, I remember. that basically that's my main recommendation for watching the film. The storyline, the storyline is surplus to requirements. It's what happens in the film. It's the action. It's the scene. It's that's what would make you watch this film. And so I would urge everybody out there, watch the Brothers Grimsby. Everybody out there who's over 18, who's
strong
stomach, who's not easily offended, who's not medium. What's a medium between easily and difficultly?
Moderately.
Well, moderately. Somebody who doesn't get offended too easily. Somebody who's not going to hunt me down and complain to me for recommending this film.
I'm sure they won't. I'll have to pick it up.
Yeah. Those people should watch the film. Alright. Gonna play some music now. Gonna look through my extensive archive, and then we'll be back to chat more inane sort of. What would you call our format, our genre?
Everything that's interesting, entirely intentional. Everything that's not completely accidental.
Exactly. See you in a few minutes.